All right, guys, welcome to another episode of Wisdom and Wealth. Today, I got an interesting topic for you that I think is important to all of us as parents. And the title of this topic is Raising Kids Who Understand Money, Not Just Spend It. And I can't tell you how dear this is to me because of our three babies. We have a 10, 5, and 1-year-old girl, boy, girl. And I so desperately want them to respect the wealth that has been created. And we very much, we love the principle of a wise man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. So for our babies, we want them to be able to have an opportunity that we didn't have. And so we want to continue to foster that in our family. And so I think a lot of people vibe with that. And I want you guys to have some practicality to raising your kids in the same way. So raising kids who understand money, not just spend it. We don't want them to be spoiled. And so here's really what happens when your kids grow up in a world completely different from the one you're from. And so I'm in this millennial phase, the younger millennial at 42 years old. And so we grew up in this phase where we didn't have cell phones, we didn't have internet so we knew the world before it, but we know we were also able to adapt to the world with it. And so we had cell phones that later, maybe in college or right after college, and could get into the internet and understand it at a young age and operate and be able to adapt to it. But we knew it before, right? And so we get into situations like this. We're in digital ages, but this happened not too long ago. Our son Hank, 5 years old, was playing upstairs at a friend's house, and they were getting rough and rowdy like boys do. All right, I love my boy full of testosterone, and he threw a Matchbox car and hit the flat screen TV and busted it. And not cool. Or even we had a windstorm here in Texas, and our trampoline flipped over and busted. And Grace, our girl, she saw that. She's bummed out about it. And usually there's a question that follows up after this situation: can we just buy another one? Well, after losing something expensive like that, that's not the best response that you want to have. It's natural from anyone, right? But especially from a kid who's coming from an unknown type place. But here becomes the challenge in this is, how do you raise grounded, hardworking kids when they've never had to struggle financially, or they've never had to deal with that quite yet? And in that situation, it was an opportunity to learn. And what I want to share is the problems that we're going to have with that, some solutions that we can bring to the table, and then a challenge to apply that in your life as an entrepreneur. Okay. And so here becomes the problem in that situation, in those learning situations, is this. Here's problems for us as first gen millionaires, or maybe you're a second or third or fourth gen, who knows? But as first gen millionaires or entrepreneurs, you often grew up with less. Like, you knew the value of a dollar. And the thing is your kids from first gen millionaires are growing up with more. And with that, the risk of entitlement shows up. And so the common concerns that end up coming from it, or the phrases that we hear, are, I don't want to spoil them. I want them to be grateful. I don't want them to be ungrateful. I don't want them to be just privileged, right? I want them to understand the why behind our wealth and what it took to get there. And so a critical thing to remember is this, and why I want this to be important for anybody who's not thinking about this, is this statement right here. Wealth without wisdom creates soft character. I'm going to say it again. Wealth without wisdom creates soft character. And if you're like me, like any guy, I don't want any soft around any of my family. Or most fathers, they want tough kids, tough families. We can go through hard times. We can handle the whole thing. We can take the load. All right. But we don't want soft character. We want high, strong character in our families, especially for our kids. They're going to go face a world of unknown and danger. We want them to have the best character they can have when they leave that house. And so wealth without wisdom creates soft character. So this is important, because if you don't create it, if you don't instill it in them, there's a chance that where it may not show up and they may have that soft character. So let's not have that. Okay. So here's the big challenges today that we're facing in that scenario is money is invisible today. Kids rarely see cash. Everything's digital, debit cards, Apple Pay, Venmo. And the problem with that is money feels, in that scenario, it feels unlimited or abstract. And this is proven in studies. McDonald's did their own study on this where they found that the average person coming up in line, the person who had a debit or a credit card, on average, I want to say spent over 30% more than the person that brought cash to the table. And in that, there was a psychological effect. There was a physical handing over of dollars to receive your meal at McDonald's. So you had to give up something to get something. Where a plastic, when you swipe that, or even on our phone right now, where you just hit the beep, the button, I'm not giving anything. I'm getting the same thing, the plastic or the phone, putting it right back into my pocket and receiving the meal. So there's no psychological transfer of value or physical transfer of value that's exchanging there. So it becomes unlimited or abstract at that point. This is why debt is, one reason why debt is at an all-time high right now. Or consumer debt. And so money is invisible today. Number two, we avoid money talks. There's a lot of business owners that say, my kids are too young to understand, or we fear burdening them or maybe transferring anxiety that we have in our own life about money. And there is some truth to that. But the problem with that is silence in that area creates confusion. They don't know what's going on. And so what ends up happening is they'll get any money ideas or any money teachings from friends or social media instead of you. And I don't know about you, but I want to be the first line of defense or barrier towards the world before my kid walks into that. So they make sure they have good values and a good foundation to stand on. So this is big. We don't want any silence in that. We want to create clarity in money. Number three is this: guilt parenting. Entrepreneurs, a lot of times we feel guilty. We work long hours trying to work on the business and in the business. And so we might be missing moments. And so we'll compensate with stuff. We have gifts, trips. We say yes all the time instead of let's talk. We had some friends that did a Disney trip one time where it was a yes trip. And that's all it was they couldn't say no to anything. And I didn't care for that one myself, okay? Because I think we're sending the wrong message in that situation. But a lot of times we can feel guilty about doing so much that we want to give excessively. I don't think it's the wrong heart. I think we just need to reframe it a little bit. And so the problem with that is that can teach, in that guilt parenting, it can teach instant gratification, not stewardship of money. Right? We can overspend what's in our accounts instead of understanding we have limits to that. And so as we get into it, that's the key challenge is money is invisible. We avoid money talks and guilt parenting. So what's some solutions that we can do? What can we get into practically to help in that situation is, one, we can start small. Start with age appropriate conversations. Talk about needs versus wants. And we can start bringing the kids into those small family decisions like our grocery budget or our vacation planning. And you can pose a question to them, right? How do you think we should spend this money on this vacation? Or how do you think we should save? How do you think we should give? And get their opinion. Actually bring them into the talk, because this is a great opportunity for them to learn, right? Is start small. What do you think? And that doesn't just empower them to grow in that area. That also creates bond with you. I made a post just yesterday or the day before on your kids don't need lectures. You need to take them fishing. You need to do stuff with them. And that's the practicality in this is when even with your starting small, just include them on the talk. And it's not like they're making financial decisions in your family, but if they got to exercise their brain muscle, it ends up being a big deal. So start small. Number two is you can use tools like allowance or commission systems. I've seen a lot of examples of this, but don't just hand out the money. You got to connect it. You got to connect it to effort. value or behavior. They got to produce something to get that, right? And this is a system we've gotten away from. A lot of times, we used to trade back in the day in places like Alaska or some other places where there's limited resources. Trading is still huge, where in America, it's not as much anymore. And what that money represents is the work that it went in to create it. And so we gotta have them understand the effort, value, or behavior of the work that went in behind that. And so what it does by putting in commission systems or allowances gives them a chance to earn and save and make the mistakes while they have low stakes. And so basically, if I'm making $5 on this task, and they go blow the $5 and now they don't have the money, well, at least it was only $5, right? And so if they have a chance to learn that now the money's gone and they can't afford anything else right now, shoot, I got to go recreate the effort to get the $5 or plus more and do something else different with it or manage it a little different. And so stakes are low. It gives them a chance to learn. And so you can use there's a 3-part system you can do on this: save, spend, and give. And so you use jars. Dave Ramsey does the envelope system. And you can keep those at the house. More practically, because we have invisible money, I would encourage you guys to go open up accounts. Go have them walk into the bank. And my 10 and 5-year-old have accounts right now. Walk into the bank, have them articulate what they need from the banker. It'll screw up the banker in their head. I promise you that too. Everybody will be laughing about it. But have them walk in and have that experience so it cements in their head. Okay. So use the allowance and commission systems. Number 3 is tell your story. Kids need context. Here's how mom and dad grew up. Here's what we sacrificed. Here's why we're building this. And we do this in our vision and values meeting in phase 1 of our process for onboarding a client. But you got to share, how did you come up? What did your mom and dad teach you about money? And I'll tell you, the majority that we hear is nothing. They didn't teach me anything. All I know is that mom and dad it was a taboo subject. And we scrimped and saved, and money, it just went away. And so we don't want this necessarily, because what we don't want is we're not squandering in our own life, right? And so we got to be able to share our story, and here's how we did it. This is what we think about it, and share what it means to you. Talk openly about generosity and stewardship and vision. One of my favorite passages: without vision, my people will perish. Well, if there's any truth to that, and I share no vision with my own family, what's my family going to do? It's going to perish. I don't want that. So I'm going to go opposite. Okay. I'm going to build vision into my family, build vision into the people in my business so that they can see something big. It was really cool when our director of operations, Mackenzie, came on in episode 1 of season 2 of this year. If you guys went and listened to that, you'll hear her talk about wanting to build out other offices and sharing how they can implement our systems in their offices. And that was really cool to hear. When I talked to Grace about, hey, what do you want to do when you grow up? And she says she wants to be the boss of Pro Capital. I don't take that as literal, like she's going to do it, but it's pretty cool to think about. And you better be building up that vision in your family and in those other people around you, but especially in your kids, if you want them to respect that money, because I got to have something to work towards. Talk openly about that. Number 4 is expose them to work. This is probably some of the biggest stuff. Come on, people. I'll get some amens from somebody listening to this. Let them shadow you. Do real jobs, or have them run an internship at your company, okay? And make them or require them to earn part of their own spending and give to causes that they care about. And so they can feel the exchange of money coming in and going out. And so have them come work in the business. And one thing I love about Jerry Jones is I've seen, the owner of the Dallas Cowboys, I've seen his family, who were kids in the locker room when I was playing ball, that are operating in the Cowboys right now, that are learning all the different sections and divisions of the Cowboys. And I thought it was so cool, because how neat would it be to be able to transition your children or hand them a house instead of debt when they come out of college? How cool would it be to hand off a business to them if they wanted to do that, instead of them starting from scratch or starting in the hole like so many do, is be able to hand them a blessing that they can continue to build on. That would be incredible. And so expose them to that work so that they have real life experience in that. And number 5 is create family money values. Sit down, define your family's approach to money. And what do we value? What do we avoid? What does enough look like? And you can even write a family letter if you wanted to do this. However this looks, but flex your muscle a little bit to do this. In my family, we talk about working hard. We talk about what does it mean to be a Procter. And I'll tell you, this is something I've even shared with our 10-year-old girl as she gets more and more into sports, is she's one of the biggest. She's got my height, right? She's the tallest 4th grader in class right now, or in school. And one big thing that I saw right out of the gate, we are an effort family. We give high effort everywhere we go. Every coach will love you if you give high effort. And there was one time, I remember the first time I saw her kind of walking in from softball from the outfield, and I got on her real quick. And I was like, I don't care if you're the best athlete, but you will not be the lazy one. And so we preach effort, run hard, do everything you can, have a great attitude. And those are values that we want to stick to. Same thing happens in money. And so if you value hard work, it'll come into the work system, into your money system, where that's a value that will play across your whole life. So share that, create the family money values that are important to you guys. And so here's the key message in all of this, okay? Your kids, they don't need to struggle financially to become strong, but they do need perspective. They do need conversation, and they need real life money experience, okay? So here's the challenge. You got to pick one small money lesson to teach to your kids this week. Even if it's just talking about what you chose not to buy. Pick something, pick one thing, and have that small conversation so you can start getting the ball rolling and instigating that. And if you do that, you are going to be one step closer to having a better family, a better you, better kids, not spoiled, and a better understanding so they respect the wealth that has been created for them. So that's a big deal. So, hey guys, but if this sparked a thought, share it with your spouse, share it with your friends, or share it with even with your kids especially. But subscribe to Wisdom and Wealth. Share this with a friend if you like it or not. I love it. I want to be a value or a tool. We're here to help you guys. We want you guys to win as a family just as much much more in your family than in your business. So we want you guys to execute and go win. But thank you guys so much. Tune in next time.